Welcome everybody to Adams Polish's Wednesday live video. Just finishing grabbing the last thing for this. And I can't remember the person's name, but they emailed me 2 weeks ago and they actually asked me a question about cleaning a truck bed liner. And I think they said, like, can you show it in the live? So I was like, I like doing requests because I think it's beneficial. You know, not only does it help that person that wants to know what it is, but also if there's anybody else that this can help too. So truck bed liner today, how do we clean it and how do we protect it? And so this truck is kind of unique in the fact that it has the liner in it, but it also has this rubber mat in it as well. So it kind of has both. So I think the easy way out is to, you know, just, and probably 99.9% of the time, I would just clean this as is. But to be thorough for the live and for Carlos, whose truck this is, I'm gonna try to get this rubber mat out of here. We'll get it on the ground. We can clean that on the ground, but also clean the lined truck bed. So that's kind of like everything we're gonna do today, and it doesn't require a lot of products. I would say though that you know, cleaning a truck bed liner isn't something you would do like by itself, unless like you had something spill or you just neglected it. But I would include this kind of in the whole washing process. So, you know, I would have cleaned the wheels and tires first. If I need to clean the engine, I would do that next, exhaust tips. Then I would start washing the whole car. And before I do my final rinse, so after I fully wash the car and everything, before I do my final rinse, I would leave the soap on the car so the water is neutralized. And then I would clean the bed liner. And, you know, when I'm foaming, it's okay to get some soap in the bed liner, but I don't want to actually foam down the bed liner with car shampoo or mega foam because we're going to use a specific product to clean this. So a few things I have a truck brush with our long handle, and this extends pretty far. So it extends out pretty far. I'm not going to use it. I'll probably just get it on like this setting. I grabbed the longer one because we have a shorter version of this pull extension, but as far as it extends out, I still have to really like bend over to do it. So my back is bad already from golfing. So I want one that I can kind of stand tall and be able to scrub. So that's why I grabbed the longer one. I have a foam cannon, graphene spray coating, rubber mat liner cleaner, graphene boost. Now, I'm only going to use one of these to protect. I'm going to use rubber mat liner cleaner to clean, but I'm kind of indifferent on either one of these. And I'll talk about why I'll end up using graphene boost versus the spray coating to protect the bed liner on here. So, and then, you know, just to show you guys, because this is new, we didn't have it last week, but we got the new Pro Pressure Washer 2.0 right here. So I got this thing all set up. It's pretty cool. Like usually when you look at pressure washers, the pumps are turned 90 degrees. So they sit like more flat. They take up a pretty big footprint. But the manufacturing facility that we work with, they were able to stand it up and down tall. So it like really significantly reduced the footprint of it. So, you know, I think for me, this is like a much better option when you're like putting it in the corner of your garage, things like that. And then we were able to reduce the cage of it. So it's significantly lighter. I think our Pro Pressure Washer 1.0 weighed just over 100 pounds. This one comes in at just under 60 pounds. So we cut a lot of weight out of it. So now I think it's right under 60. So you can really like move this around a lot. It could be 40, but I'm pretty sure it's 60. And then a couple other cool things that I think you guys might think is unique is like you can take your premium foam cannon and right here where the tips go, you can actually house these on here. And then when you have your snub nose, I have this one connected. I can't take it off because the water's engaged, but I have this separate one. When you're done with everything, you can just slide your snub nose in there. So pretty cool. And then it also comes with a wall mount, but it's a dynamic wall mount. It's not static. So you actually mount this plate with a little, it's like a J curve, mount it to your wall, and then you hang the pressure washer on it. So you can take it off and move it around, or you can keep it there all the time. So it makes it just a little bit better. I think for us, like a wall mount for me, like I probably wouldn't move my pressure washer too much, but if in that instance I need to, this makes it a lot easier. I don't have to unbolt everything. I can just kind of take it off. So new pressure washer, I love it. Like it comes in at working pressure at 1,260 PSI. So like just under 1,300. And I mean, realistically with PSI, you know, depending on the pressure that's coming into the pump, you know, it can jump up to 1,350, kind of plus or minus, you know, 50 to 100 PSI, depending on the conditions and everything. And then the gallons per minute comes in at 1.76 or 1.7 is what we said. So just under 2.0. And, you know, we really like optimized it to be able to, like we could have easily bumped the GPM up to 2.0 or higher, but that would have reduced the pressure that we get. So we tried to level, we tried to kind of even that out. So you get the pressure that you need to blast off dirt and grime, but also the amount of water that comes out to make rinsing easy, because just rinsing your car is not the only thing you're doing. You know, you need enough pressure for your foam cannon to work properly. You need enough pressure to get dirt and grime off of your car. So having a mix of both is good. And I'll be honest, like if I started using a pressure washer and someone handed me a new one and it had 2.0 versus 1.76, I would not even know a difference. So the GPM is not something I think that a pressure washer people really feel. It's more the pressure does like a lot of the work, you know. So that's kind of why we optimized it mainly for detailing and tried to price it right so it's easily affordable for people. And then like the footprint and everything else, you know, the mounts for your foam cannon, your snub nose. Yeah, I like it a lot. It also, one upgrade that I think is amazing to this is no maintenance. So it's just set it and use it. Our old Pro pressure washer, the 1.0, you had to do like oil changes on it. So this one's a no maintenance machine. So very, very, a lot better. So wanted you guys to see that because that's new to the line. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it. And then of course it's a live video, so ask questions, you know, anything you guys want. I'm here to answer any questions about if it's graphene ceramic coating, if it's, you know, cleaning your wheels and tires, whatever. I will answer any questions. That's what this video is intended for. So
Ken Wilson wants to know if you could also use tire and rubber cleaner on a bed liner.
yeah, so Ken Wilson asked, can you use tire and rubber cleaner on a bed liner? Yes, you can. The one thing I would say is that tire and rubber cleaner, like if I was going to use tire and rubber cleaner on this, I would actually have parked with the nose faced at the sun to get a little bit more shade. Because when tire and rubber cleaner fully dries on the surface, it can leave like a little bit of a chalky residue behind. So, you know, not to say you can't fix that with the graphene boost to make it look better, but that would be like my one gripe with tire and rubber cleaner is sometimes it can leave a little bit of a residue behind. And really, you can clean that off pretty easy, or when you put the boost on it, will make it look fine. But, you know, I don't want to have to like clean my bed liner multiple times just to get it protected. So taking steps forward instead of back. So rubber mat liner cleaner, I think for me, I'll be honest, I was in between rubber mat liner cleaner and citrus degreaser. The reason why I would use citrus degreaser is because it actually has a foaming agent in it. So this is still, I'm going to use this out of the foam cannon, so it's still going to foam, but the citrus degreaser stays foamy for longer. And generally, like in the bed of your truck, it's dirt, which citrus degreaser cleans. But, you know, people like throw stuff back here, motorcycles, you know, like dirt bikes, things like that. So you can get some oil residue back there. So citrus degreaser is a really good product for that. The reason why I use rubber mat and liner cleaner is because this bed specifically has this rubber mat in here. So I'm like, okay, it has a rubber mat. So I'm gonna clean the rubber mat and I'm gonna clean the liner. So I'm like, it's perfect. So that's really the main reason why I chose that product for today. So let me move some of this stuff, but oh, and then I also have this wheel face brush. It's like the soft bristle brush. So when I'm cleaning, because we need to clean this part, if I clean up on here and I touch the paint, like it's okay if I do that with this brush. I don't want to touch the paint with that other truck brush. And that truck brush that I have is actually an option on our website. That's to use our concrete cleaner and scrub concrete. So it's a little bit more, it's a lot more stiff bristle of a brush. But we do have an actual truck brush that is the same exact material as this wheel face brush. Same exact material, bristles. That's a good option too. I really want the scrubbing power of that. So what I'm gonna do first is I wanna get this rubber mat out of here. So I just want to get this on the ground right here. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is start with cleaning that, and I'll move into the... So I have the 40-degree tip on here. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to spray it away from the truck because I don't want any of this water going on there. So... untangled. Okay. So, and in this case, I feel like I talk about this a lot. Oh, normally what I would do is I would take my foam cannon and I would just stick it onto the bottle. But this one is broken, so it doesn't have the inner piece to it that can screw onto my 16-ounce bottle. So instead what I'm gonna do is, because I have to, I'm gonna pour this into directly, and I am not going to dilute this whatsoever. And I'll be honest with you guys, at my house, I buy 2 16-ounce bottles of Mega Foam, and I pour them, both of them, into this. This is a 35-ounce container, so I pour 32 ounces of Mega Foam straight into this container, and then I'll put the top on, and I will dilute the soap up top here. So I'm gonna turn this all the way counterclockwise, because counterclockwise means it's gonna bypass the straw and just shoot water out, and then as I turn this up, it will start pulling out of the container. So start counterclockwise, like that. Take the tip off the pressure washer. And then you'll see when I spray it, just water. Okay, I'm gonna make the fan a little bit more. And then as I turn the top knob here, it will start to, I'll do it so Chris can show you as I shoot this out. As I turn this up, it starts making it foamy like that. Okay, so again, this is Rubber Mountain liner cleaner in here. So I'm gonna foam down. Foam down the mat like so. Set this aside. Set this up here. And then I'm gonna take my truck brush, just get it a little bit wet. I keep saying truck brush, but this is the concrete scrubbing brush.
Would the truck brush would work too?
I think the truck brush would work okay. It's just the bristles are so soft that they will fold over as you try to scrub. This, you can actually really get a lot of scrubbing into it. So I'm gonna go with the grooves first. I'm gonna go against the grooves next. I don't know, this might not be a big talking day today, Chris. Just be people watching me earn my keep today. So, once I get it scrubbed down, Chris, move over here because I don't want to blast him. And we'll just spray it off. There's actually quite a bit of dirt that came off of there. Now for most people, like their truck bed is something that gets used quite a bit. So he has a lot of like nicks in here. I'm fine with that. You know, I have to be somewhat realistic with what I'm working on, you know? And so I'm fine with those nicks. That's not really anything that any of our cleaners will get out because that's just from him throwing stuff in the back, right? But if I can make it look more even and perfect, maybe not perfect, but a little bit more even and consistent, then that's kind of what we're going for, you know?
Can you repeat what you sprayed it with?
I'm using Rubber Mountain liner cleaner at full strength. I poured it straight into the canister, and then I took the top knob, I turned it all the way counterclockwise, because when I spray it out, it's just water. I don't know why that's doing that. Maybe because I have this too much. Hold on one second. What I was doing is just grabbing I just want to do one more scrub with this on there. Okay. There's a spot right in the middle here, and I don't know if I'll be able to get it out. I think it's a stained rust spot. Just doing one more scrubbing. Okay. And then spray it off again. There we go. And then I'm just gonna let that dry right now, right out in the direct sunlight. And now I'm gonna get into doing the same thing to the truck bed. I just gotta move this bottle over here. Okay. Now, one thing I will say is that initially I want to get these leaves and trash and everything out of here. So I'm going to blast this out. So I'm going to move my truck brush over here. But I think, like, theoretically, what most people would want to do is have the pressure washer up over here. But I would run the risk of it going onto the paint and scratching the paint. So one thing you can do is put a towel over here. You could even like tape a towel on so it can move around on the towel. But as I move around, I don't know where it's gonna go. So what I like to do is I'll get my pressure washer hose like brought out here a little bit further. And then when I get the pressure washer up onto the truck bed, I'm gonna have it go over this plastic so it doesn't scratch the paint, because that's gonna cause more work in the long run. And if my pressure washer hose gets a little bit dirty, don't care. And I would say, like, this truck is a 2500 diesel Ram truck, so it's a little bit taller because it's intended for towing. If you have a truck that isn't as tall as this one, you can just stand on the side and spray it. And I could probably do that right now, but I'm just gonna get in here because it gives me better access. So really, like, all I'm doing right now is I'm doing my best to get the dirt off of the truck bed. The more work I do with the pressure washer, it makes everything else easier. So I have the 40-degree tip, but I can get a little bit closer and really, like, you can really see the difference from like this portion right here where there's loose dirt versus here. And so it's almost like if you've ever like cleaned your driveway, you got to get a little bit closer for the pressure to push more of the dirt out. So that's pretty much all I'm doing right now. And I would say, like, if you have your pressure washer and it comes with the extension wand, this is a great time to use that. So you don't have to bend over so far. Okay, good on that for now. And then we'll foam it with our rubber mat and liner cleaner. I actually think I have it right here. There we go. So like if I was washing the whole truck, I could care less if I get it on the truck, but right now I'm gonna try to aim away from it. Okay. Chris, you mind grabbing that for me? Look guys, Chris did work. Just kidding. Chris, you're always working hard. Grab my truck brush. And just like I did on that rubber floor mat, or I guess rubber truck mat, use this to scrub. Work on a composite bed? Yeah. It's really any you know, I would say like the only one that I would not do this on as far as truck bed goes is like a painted one. Right? Painted one I would just wash it like normal. Like use a wash pad. You might get a little bit dirty because you might have to kneel down, but you know, any of the truck beds that are textured or plastic, it's gonna work on every single one of those. So but I would say there are also some truck beds that people will lay carpet in there. Don't do this process on that. All I would say on, it's kind of like carpeted fender wells on your car. You don't spray any product into that. Just use the power of the pressure washer to like blast the dirt and grime out of that, and that's it. And what? I don't even think you need a brush, you know, like, I mean, I guess you could. I'd almost say like the standard truck brush will be better for that. The red bristled one, this is a concrete brush, this blue one. Softer bristles for carpet because it won't fray it as much. So like just a little bit of agitation, but your pressure washer is going to do a lot of the work. And I would say too, like for sure on a carpeted bed liner, I think it's pretty, I wouldn't say rare, but it's more uncommon that you'd have a carpeted or like felt bed liner. But if you have the extension wand, especially like the ones that come with the pressure washer, they have a 45-degree bend to it. You can essentially turn your pressure washer tip 90 degrees. So now it's spraying flat instead of sideways like this. And then you could flip when you have the extension wand on the pressure washer, you can turn it so now it's like 45-degree angled away from you instead of down. Turn the tip so it's flat, and you can hold it so the lower you get, the more it's going to blast the dirt up and out versus like spraying into the actual carpet, if that makes sense. And that's the same thing when I'm doing it in carpeted fender wells, is like I'm trying to angle it so it's like your fender well's like this. I'm trying to angle it so it's hitting like this and pushing the dirt out. Okay, Chris, can you do me a favor? On this side over here, on the side step, there's the other brush. Pro tip number 2, have someone film you during this so they can grab your tools for you. So I'm just gonna get this a little wet. Now, the reason... What's that?
Everyone just needs to hire me specifically.
Yeah, hire Chris. We can put his email in here and you guys can contact him if you want. chrisc@adamspolishes.com. How's that? So I'm just using this to scrub the portions that are closer to the paint, like so. And then I'm also going to take this and hit the side because it's a little bit easier than using the truck brush. You know, I wouldn't use extractor shampoo on the carpeted beds. I think like extractor shampoo is more designed for putting into the extractor and then taking out, because when it heats up, it's more breaking down like organic compound, you know, like stains like coffee or soda, that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I don't think extractor shampoo is worth doing on a carpeted fender well. I would say, like, if anything, if you feel like you need to use something, car shampoo would be fine. Like, just foam it in there. But again, I think personally for me, I probably wouldn't use anything. I would just use the power of the pressure washer. That's what I do with, because the thing that happens is, like, when you spray product in there, when you use your pressure washer, it keeps reactivating the soap or the solution. So you end up spraying a lot of, you use the pressure washer more than you need to. Versus not spraying anything, you can get a lot of the dirt and grime out with the pressure washer and then use like a brush like our fender brush or the regular truck brush with the red bristles, and that will do a pretty good job as well. So now, after I scrubbed, now I rinse. So pressure washer is so key for this process. One thing I am gonna do, if you notice, like I was standing in the soapy area with the rubber mat liner clear, I keep getting soap everywhere I step. So I'm just gonna quickly like blast off my shoes. So every time I step, I don't get soap every time I step, and I'm just like following my footsteps. So already looks a lot better.
While you're know if you don't have tar and adhesive remover, what's a good way to remove tar from a ceramic coated car?
Good way to remove tar from a ceramic coated car. So I would say there's a couple ways, Anton, as far as removing tar from a car if you don't have tar and adhesive remover. If it's not like a big chunk, clay bar would work. Like I'd almost say like a visco clay bar would be a great option for that. Just that's more of like a mechanical removal, like it's grabbing onto it, pulling it off. The other thing too, like if you have access to a heat gun, you got to be really careful with that. But like if you get it to temperature, it's a lot easier to work with. So, you know, maybe a heat gun, a little bit of tire and rubber cleaner might help get that off. But realistically, like tar and adhesive remover is by far the best option. And I would say too that, I mean, tire and rubber cleaner works pretty good as well. It's just not as aggressive. It's like going to take a little bit longer, but, you know, tar and adhesive remover, like that's a pretty common product that you can get anywhere. So even if you don't have ours, you could pretty much go to any AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, and they're going to have a version of it there. And not to try to sell you different product, but Stoner Car Care, they're friends of ours, and they actually have a really good tar and adhesive remover. So like if ours isn't available, I would say they have a great option. Hola, Francisco.
Hey, how are you?
That's Francisco, you guys. He works in the warehouse. You box stuff up, right? So if you guys order from us, he probably touched your stuff. So he takes really good care of it. So very appreciative of Mr. Francisco there. Okay, and I'll be honest with you guys, I made a rookie move. I left this mat here. And I blasted all the stuff out of it onto this. So I just need to give this a quick little, it didn't get like dirty, but it got some of the loose. What's that? Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I'd probably say like in the future, because I'm an amateur, clearly. You know, when you do the mat, maybe like move it to the side of your truck. So when you blast everything out of the bed, not to say that people have this mat anyways, but it'll make so you don't do work against yourself. So, okay, so this is like all clean right now, which is great. But what I am gonna do in this kind of next portion, I gotta go grab something really quick, but I'm gonna get the air cannon and blow the water out of this. Normally what I would do is let this air dry. Like I'm fine with that. Let the mat air dry, let the bed air dry, and then I'll get into the protecting thing. But for the sake of time here on the live, because we have about 20 minutes left, I'm gonna get the air cannon, get as much of the water out of here and get this dry. Same with the mat. The mat will dry pretty quick, but while I do the air cannon portion, that'd be a great time to ask questions. And again, it's like you could ask questions about the company itself, any upcoming things. I can't reveal too much, but any upcoming things, any detailing questions. But let me go grab the air cannon really quick. Sorry about that.
Can you spray rinse aid with a foam cannon? He's trying to think of ways to get a protection on the undercarriage.
Oh, yeah, spray it. Definitely spray rinse aid with foam cannon. Yeah. Just so you know, it's not gonna come out like foamy. It comes out milky almost. So don't be like too alarmed by it. But I think that's a good. I would spray it on there, then switch to your pressure washer tip and then spray it off. But for your undercarriage, I don't know if it matters that much. It's more like the reason why you do that on paint is because it can get streaky. Undercarriage, you're not going to notice if it gets streaky or not. So I think you'd be good.
And what's the air cannon that you're using?
This is the Air Cannon Mini, which is a handheld air cannon. So it has a super powerful motor underneath here, and then it has filtered air. You can kind of see it in here. It actually has a heating element, so it heats the air as it's blowing, and then it has like a nice focus tip up top. So normally I'd probably use the Air Cannon Junior or the Air Cannon dual motor, but this was the one that was sitting in there, so I just grabbed this. And really what I'm trying to do is, if you can see in here actually, like right here is where I started blowing. I'm just trying to get the sitting water out, mainly like in the grooves. Because once it does that, then the sun will dry it pretty quick. And I'll be 100% honest, part of my decision of using graphene boost instead of the spray coating for this, which is what I'm gonna do, is that even if this is a little bit wet, I'm okay with it because the graphene boost is a water-based product, whereas the graphene spray coating, your car needs to be dry before you apply it, you know, so realistically, like, the graphene boost for me is a little bit better option because it's going to be more efficient in the long run, I guess you could say, because I'm not going to, I don't necessarily have to wait for the bed liner to dry all the way. I can just use it once it's semi-dry. Like, you'll see it will be just like, it won't be like fully dry. It'll be pretty close.
Do you want to take a question?
I'll take as many questions as you want, Chris.
Adam wants to know what is the difference between car shampoo and megafoam and which has more lubricity?
That's a good question. Is that Adam Patali?
No.
Could you imagine if Adam was on here asking me questions? Like the Adam of Adam's Colleges? He doesn't need any questions. So, not Adam Patali, what's the difference between megafoam and car shampoo and which one has more lubricity? They're both pretty like highly lubricated. I think most of our soaps are, just because that's what makes an effective car soap. So I'm actually going to jump up in this bed really quick. They're both pretty highly lubricated. The difference between megafoam and car shampoo is the foam thickness. So megafoam puts out like crazy thick, like almost shaving cream thick foam. Like if you know what Barbasol is. I never used Barbasol when I was a kid, when I was first getting my few hairs as a beard, but the only reason I knew what Barbasol was because people would spray that on baseball gloves, put them in the oven at like low heat, and it would like soften them up. So like a lot of my friends in baseball would do that. I never did that, but Barbasol is like you push the trigger and it's like this thick very thick foam. So Mega Foam produces that thickness of foam. Car shampoo doesn't produce as thick of foam. It still does pretty good, especially like out of a foam cannon. But, I'd say that's really the only difference. For me personally, I use both so much. I would say the regular blue car shampoo, to me, when I'm washing, feels more lubricated. Like my wash pad just tends to glide a little bit better. And I think that there's part of it is that, and this could be controversial and I'm fine with it, but something that Adam taught me a long time ago was that the thickness of your foam doesn't exactly mean effectiveness. And I think that's the thing about Mega Foam, and the reason why I use Mega Foam in my foam cannon but car shampoo in my wash bucket is that I want the foam to go on and stick to it because it will dwell longer, it will hold on to the dirt better. But I like the car shampoo better as a standard soap because it tends to glide on the surface better. It has like this lubricating, it's almost like there's a film on the surface that like lets it grab the dirt, but it just glides on the surface so nice. Where I feel like with Mega Foam, the foam is so thick that it's so airy that I feel like my wash pad doesn't like glide as well. And anytime I can reduce the amount of drag when I'm washing, it reduces the chance for wash-induced scratches. So car shampoo is out of all the soaps in our line, car shampoo is one of my favorites because I'd say car shampoo and graphene shampoo are my two favorite car soaps. Just because I feel like the lubrication level is really high, and I don't get too caught up with like how thick the foam is on my car. I like it. I think it's effective when you're like initially foaming it, but and I would say like one of my gripes with Mega Foam is that the foam sticks around for a long time. Like even when you rinse your car off, like if you're using it in the bucket and in the foam cannon, once it hits the ground, it doesn't dissipate and go away. So when I get to my final rinse, with the air, with the pressure, the water and the air blowing out of the pressure washer, it like blows dirty foam back onto my car. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to rinse my car multiple times. So I like Mega Foam out of my foam cannon. And then I like the car shampoo out of my bucket. And that like pairing of soaps really, like, by the time the Mega Foam has worked in with the car shampoo, it dissipates on the ground and I'm not blowing dirty foam back on my car. So but yeah, the main difference is thickness of suds. And I think our industry really drives that because I think a common misconception is that the thicker the suds, the better the car soap, and that's not always the case. So I hope that's I'm not trying to tell you not to get Mega Foam. It's more of like yeah, if you prefer the thick foam, then it's a great product, What's that? Yeah, Sing blows. Okay, I think that's good enough for me, to be honest with you. And that mat, Chris keeps walking on it, but that's okay. I'll just set this aside. And actually, Chris, will you throw me that brush that's over there on the ground? Thank you. I'm actually going to try to get some of the water out of the way. Okay, it's pretty good. So set this aside. So once you have it, 90% dry, 85% dry, you're going to take graphene boost. Now, again, I could easily use the graphene spray coating, and I was sort of 50-50 between these, but I think that because this is a water-based product, I can use it even if there's some wet spots left on the truck bed. But the other thing about spray coating is, as everyone here knows, that's something you spray into an applicator, you put it on the surface, let it rainbow, and then wipe off. We've had some instances where it will go on to certain manufacturers' plastic, and if you don't wipe it off of the plastic, the excess of the graphene spray coating turns chalky. Okay, so I don't want to run the risk of that on this bed. What I want to do is put something on there that's going to make it look nice, and I can just kind of put it on and let it go, right? And with the graphene spray coating, I would really want to put this on here and then like level it off to get the excess out of there. I can't really do that on a textured bed like this. It would just destroy any towel that I'm using. So with graphene boost, I can just like spray it on there, brush it on, and then pretty much I'm done. So to me, graphene boost is a little bit better. And the reason why graphene boost and not graphene detail spray or graphene CS3 or regular CS3 is this is the most concentrated with silica and reduced graphene oxide. So it's just gonna last longer and it's gonna work better. So I'll just start right here so you can see it, and then I'll move on to everything else. But
it's gonna last longer than like graphene detail spray, but it wouldn't last as long as spray coating, right?
It wouldn't last as long as spray coating, but it will last longer than graphene detail spray just because it has a higher loading level. So I'll just spray it onto the truck bed like so, and then I actually took the same brush I used to scrub this stuff. I had sprayed it out with the pressure washer, and then I actually took the blower and blew out the excess water in this.
And what's the name of that brush?
This is the wheel face brush. Same thing you use to clean your wheels. Now, the other question I imagine we're probably going to get is, why don't you just use VRT, graphene VRT, or all-purpose exterior dressing was another one that actually, when I was talking to people upstairs, that was something they asked me. And
someone just asked, why not H2O?
Yeah, why not H2O garden gloss? So the reason why I wouldn't use graphene or any form of VRT, whether it's graphene or standard VRT or the all-purpose exterior dressing, is it leaves a slippery surface. Like it's a lot of silicone. So like, if you're getting in your truck bed and walking around and doing stuff, you're gonna slip and fall, and you're a little bit higher up, not ideal. So VRT, graphene VRT, or all-purpose exterior dressing, even like tire shine or graphene tire dressing, do not use those. You don't want it to be slippery. It's the same reason why you don't use it on your floor mats, your all-weather floor mats. Now, H2O garden gloss. H2O garden gloss is a very specific process of how you apply it, and it's a sealant-based product. So because it's a sealant-based product, it's not going to last as long as a ceramic-based product, which is silica, which is in graphene boost. So, and the other thing for me is like, and maybe you guys feel different about this too, I really do not want this shiny. That is like not the intention. I want it just to look even, and like this to me, when you look at it now, it looks new. It doesn't look artificial. Like it looks like this was just put on here, So I'm richening the color, but it doesn't have a sheen to it to where like I know it's like, you know, someone knows that you actually did that. So for me, it's not going to be slippery. I mean, literally this feels the same as this, and I haven't even done this yet, but the color richness is like way more even. It looks really good. So graphene boost to me is just a much better option when it comes to doing this. Now, I just started doing this for the live video. What I recommend is starting from the back and then making your way forward, because I'm gonna have to get on this and stand on it, but I just wanted you guys, since I was standing here, I wanted you guys to see it. But when you use a graphene boost, what you'll notice is it looks like it goes on wet, which I think probably technically it does because it's a water-based product. But once you see the water evaporate out of it, then it's not, doesn't have a sheen to it anymore. It just leaves it nice and black and perfect.
Yeah, like this side is already mostly dry.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you know, with maybe a little bit of water in here, if there's some excess, like there's still some water over there because that's in the shade, so it's not drying as fast. Like I'm fine with using graphene boost over that because it's a water-based product. So I'll just show you really quick. Whoa. I just don't move like I used to. So I just want you to see that. When I got up, I put my foot right here. If that was VRT or tire dressing or anything, I would have slipped and not been able to get up very easy. So graphene boost is a much better product for this. So
he says, so no need to wipe off?
No need to wipe off. You just use the brush to brush it in. So
Specifically on this surface. Like
yeah.
on paint, you would still wipe it off.
Yeah, on paint you want to wipe it off because it'll be streaky. It'll be noticeably streaky. But on a textured liner like this, you know, I can't. There's no such thing as streaks on this because it's not like a gloss finish. And you would notice probably on this side, it's gonna look more shiny for a little bit longer because it's in the shade, so it's not gonna dry as fast. So
why not? Adam Abram says, why not rubber mat liner protectant?
Rubber mat liner protectant for me is a little bit too slippery. Like it's not intended to be slippery, but it is a little bit. Like VRT, not as bad as VRT, but the thing for me is that, like, it's okay if it has a touch of slickness to it, you know, on your floor mat, because getting in your car is like pretty easy. When you're in a truck bed and you're up a little bit higher, I want to reduce the risk of falling, you know, so I want to use something on the truck bed liner that 1,000% I'm not gonna fall. And you know, I would also say too that graphene boost is gonna last exponentially longer than rubber mat liner protectant. So I want something that's durable, because the idea behind this now is that I want this to be easy to clean the next time. So theoretically, I could even try it here in just a second. That should bead water, you know, for the most part. And if it beads water, it means it's easier to clean. So that's like a big thing for me, is having something that's easy to clean. I would say too, like if you have one of those IK sprayers, like the multi-sprayer, this is a good time to use that. You just kind of evenly put a nice coating layer on here.
What about applying the advanced coating on the rails of the bed liner?
Yeah, when I was doing it, I was just thinking about that. But that's a good, you know, you could put the graphene spray coating on this instead of the boost. I'm just kind of using this all in one fell swoop, just to do it. But yeah, I would recommend that, you know. But I think also, like, you have to understand that, like, when you do the spray coating on your whole car, you end up doing that anyways. So it would probably already be protected. So I would still go over it with the boost no matter what, because it will help the richness and color. But yeah, when you do spray coat your whole car, I do recommend, if you have a truck, do your bed rails as well. And like really, the fine spray of the sprayer really does a good job. I don't even know if on certain parts I would need to brush it. I'm mainly brushing it to like even it out, make it look better.
Nathan says this is like watching someone paint themselves into a corner.
Well, Nathan, I'm about to fall off this corner here in a second. You know, I think the cool thing about a lot of our products is obviously they have very specific intentions, but a lot of them are very versatile, you know, and I think when I was, because it's not like we developed a bed liner protectant or a bed liner cleaner. More of how I'm thinking about it is, you know, zero slickness. I love that. That's great. But when I was kind of, the first time I ever did this, which was like a while back, you know, I'm really trying to think of the properties of the product and what they're really good at. And Graphene Boost is really good at, like, it's an extra booster protectant to your ceramic coated vehicle is like its main intention, but it's the highest concentrated version of our maintenance ceramic silica spray, right? So like, I know that it has a lot of protection in it. I mean, I think as a standalone product, the Graphene Boost has about a year's worth of durability. Okay, so like just as a spray and wipe, I mean, that is an amazing product just standalone by itself. So, but again, like I was saying, like the fact that Graphene Boost, you know, I spray it on the paint and I just wipe it off, but on a textured stuff, I don't have to wipe it off because it's not going to appear streaky. It's actually going to self-level because the water, because it's a water-based product, the water is going to evaporate out of it, and then the ceramic and everything is going to stay. So when I was thinking about doing a bed liner, it's like, okay, Graphene Boost to me is the best concept because it's fine if I spray it on and it self-levels, where I feel like with the spray coating, it's a little bit more durable, but I run the risk of excess turning chalky. So I don't want that to happen. So I just want to avoid that risk whatsoever. So I'm just not going to use it. Now, if you have like an OEM plastic liner, like this is a painted on bed liner, like Rhino liner, it would be probably like the most popular type of bed liner. This is extremely textured. You know, like if I try to rub a towel on here, it's going to chew it up. A standard plastic OEM bed liner that's like barely, it's like this kind of plastic texture, you know. Graphene ceramic spray coating advanced would be a better option for that truck. And actually, to be honest with you, tomorrow I'm shooting a more in-depth video of this that we're going to post directly to our YouTube, And I have one truck that has the OEM plastic liner, and then I have another one that has a rhino liner in it. And I'm going to talk about both because, you know, a lot of people have the plastic ones, a lot of people have the rhino line ones, like this one. This one isn't quite the crazy, like when you think of rhino liner, I mean, it's like if you rub your arm on it, it scratches your arm, you know. This one's not as aggressive. So, but when you look at it now, this graphene boost, I mean, it makes it look amazing. This looks so much better than when I started, you know. And granted, like it was dirty when I started, but it was also faded, and this really like brought back the color of it. So, graphene boost for this textured rhino liner type of lining was by far the best option. I feel like the spray coating, I could run the risk of it being chalky. And the thing for me with graphene boost is it doesn't leave any, it's not slippery after you're done using it. So I can still get in and out of this truck bed without running the risk of falling out of my truck. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys think, but this to me looks amazing. Looks great. And I'm going to do the same thing to the rubber mat. And if anything, what I would do to that is I would actually do the spray coating to that, because that's not as textured and rough as this bed liner. So the spray coating for me on this is a better option because I can put it on there and then I can level it off with the towel. So I'm not going to do it right now because we're kind of out of time, but spray coating I will do to that mat. I think it's a better option for that. So, you know, I know today was kind of probably seemed slow because I was like doing a lot of work without talking, but, and it's pretty straightforward. You know, pressure washer by far is like one of the best options, and our new pressure washer is a great option. So a pressure washer gets more dirt and grime out of it with less effort, right? And the other thing about it too for me is it leaves less water inside the truck bed, so it dries faster. So if it dries faster, that means I can protect it quicker. So my whole process is more efficient from the beginning, you know. Having a nice scrubbing brush that has a long pole to it. I'm not saying you need to have this pole that we sell, but you know, you could go to, obviously this one's nice because especially for a truck, because you know, if you have the truck brush, that's the red bristles, you know, you could use that to wash your truck, but having this long handle just gives you options when it comes to, it's not going to put as much stress on your body. So that's why I use this, you know. And the concrete brush, stiffer bristles, so I can really do more work scrubbing to get it more clean. So when I get into the protecting, it's a lot easier. And then I've already talked in depth about why I use graphene boost instead of the spray coating. So, you know, I think it's a pretty simple process, but again, when you think about this, you know, I think that's a tough thing about the live is like, I can give you tips on like, you know, this is a very specific process of like cleaning a truck bed. But again, I would have washed my whole car. I would have left it with the soap on it before I rinsed it. Then I would have sprayed the cleaner in here, the rubber mat liner cleaner. I would have scrubbed it. I would have rinsed it out. And then I would have, after I rinsed out the truck bed, then I would have went and rinsed the rest of the car, starting in the shaded side first. And then after I'm done with that, I pull it inside. I dry the rest of my car. And then if I need to dry the truck bed liner, I use the air cannon, blow the water, as much of the water out as I can. If I grab a drying towel to like get some excess off, that's fine too. And then, you know, depending on where you're at in the year of like your car care process, you could do the spray coating on the whole car and then do graphene boost, you know, or realistically, every 3 months, I recommend doing graphene boost anyways as a maintenance product on your car. That's a great time to protect your bed liner again. So just figure out, you know, your routine and how this process, if you own a truck and you have a bed liner like this, how it can fit into the bigger picture than only focusing on this. Because if you can pair it in with doing more work at once, it just makes everything more efficient. So yeah, I hope today was helpful. And I know it's kind of a unique topic, and I thank you to the person who requested it, because I think it's a unique topic, and it's actually something a question we get pretty decently often, actually. I mean, I think the #1 selling vehicle in America is the Ford F-150. It might have been overtaken by something else, but for many years, at least it was the #1 selling truck for a long time. So we know for sure there's a lot of people that have this on their truck. So you know, I hope this is a good resource for you guys to know how to clean it and protect it. So, and again, you can always come back and watch these videos and suggest topics, and I absolutely will address them. So thank you guys for watching, and next week, again, we'll be back Wednesday, 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. I hope to see you guys there.